So thank you for coming out tonight. We have an amazing group of panelists and alumni and tabling organizations here to help you. They are leaders in the design industry. Some of them went through our program, and they're here to answer all your questions. Whether those are questions you can't ask in class or don't feel like you can answer in class, or you've asked your peers and they're not sure, they are here today to answer those questions for you, all right? I want to quickly introduce our panel. We have, and then I'll let them talk about what they do, who they are, what they do, and why it matters. But we have Alan Bischoff, the Director of UX at Excel. He may or may not have stolen that from someone, we're not sure yet. Then we have Amy Roberts. She's a recruiter at Staffing Strong. Amy. Thank you. We have Jeff Greenlee, the Senior Graphic Designer at Fender Musical Instruments. Matt Adams, President of Factor One and Web Development, but I think your official title is Intergalactic.
Intergalactic Operations.
Right. So it's a fun place to work. He is also the Director of Business of Design for AOGA Arizona. And Nicole Nordgren is the designer at Canary Gold Evans. She's also the VP of Programming for AOGA Arizona. And unfortunately, Remy couldn't be with us tonight, so filling in is Professor Ernest Fox, who is helping us out on our online chat. We do have many questions from both online and from our in-person students, and are dividing them out into kind of categories so that we're being efficient with our time. And the first one, you can imagine, has to do with jobs. So I was wondering if each one of you could quickly answer this question, and we'll start the end with Alan. What was your first job in design? And tell us maybe a little story about that.
So my first job in design was working for a company called Sage. They did CRM software, customer relationship management for sales. And my very first design project is I had to help design a scheduling system that worked across time zones in the US. The original design did not have it. So the data was kind of stored incorrectly in the database. I found that out through some exploration and designed a new way to handle it. Worked with one of the engineers, and sure enough, I put out a functional specification that covered the new design and new requirements, and went in through engineering. So that was my very first design project, and I wasn't even formally a UX designer at the time. So that was how I started in UX.
Awesome. All right.
I am not a designer. So I started in career services like I mentioned at an art design school. So I started working with IT students, some video students, graphic design students. So I spent a lot of time in the classrooms with the students, with the instructors, just learning what the students were learning too, so I could better assist them with their resume writing, with their portfolios and things like that. And it's just grown over the years, and so now I'm a recruiter with a staffing agency, helping not only students, but seasoned professionals find work in the creative space.
I started out as a technical illustrator working in Milwaukee. Everything was done by hand. They had these computers in this back room. And so I looked at it and said, wow, this is like where the future is. So, and they were huge machines. I went and I learned how to run these machines, thinking, someday this will help me. And from that point on, it catapulted me to doing other things and learning all the other systems that ended up helping me in my design. So it's one of those, when you see something new out there, make sure you kind of jump on it.
My first job in design was mainly dealing with very large aerial photography across the state of Arizona. So I was a graphic designer for a commercial real estate development firm. We were building Home Depots, Targets, shopping centers all across the valley. And so this is 2001, and Photoshop was pretty slow. I think my computer had like 16 gig of RAM. It was amazing. It would take like 30 minutes to open the Photoshop file. So we took really high resolution aerials and stitched them all together into one giant map of the entire valley, overlaying all of the housing data, all of the streets were labeled, and so then we were pitching to Target. This is why you can come to our corner that my company was developing, we would actually have all the GIS data for populations, income levels, all on that map. We were producing these really quickly for each individual property, and it was a very slow process. There would be late nights of like, let's enlarge the radius from 5 miles to 6 miles. We'll pick up an extra 100,000 people. Do that. And like the meeting's 8 a.m. It's like 6 p.m. at night. File takes 30 minutes to open, 30 minutes to save, and then print 10 copies of it for the morning on large format. So kind of crazy times, but it was really slow. Tedious Photoshop work and crash. It was great work.
I am originally from upstate New York, so my first design job was actually at Fisher-Price, which is a toy company owned by Mattel, dealing mostly in toddler, preschool, and baby items. So I was actually a graphic designer in the packaging department. So I primarily worked on the boys line, which was the ImagineX playset. So it's like a 5 to 8 age grade. Working in the toys was pretty fun. And it was also really interesting to learn how the packages get made. And that's kind of what prompted my desire to kind of work in the architectural firm in branding and graphics, to learn about the three-dimensional space, how people interact with things, whether they're in store, point of purchase, that sort of thing. I know a lot about photoshopping baby heads on different baby bodies, which was a pretty fun learning experience.
Oh, wait, I got one.
Yeah, go.
Okay. My first design job was, that's the question, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're asking questions for the online people.
Well, I'm gonna answer to, okay.
Answer it if you would.
I was fortunate to have a co-op position while I was still a student as a graphic designer at a law firm in Philadelphia. So very corporate in-house role, but I learned a lot. And from there it was upwards and onwards.
Do you have an online question?
Yes, we have several online questions. I'm just gonna run them down in the order that they were received, so not by topic. So Jamie Fenderson asks, with technology and design trends changing so rapidly, how does one keep up?
Great. Who would like to answer that one? How do you keep up?
First off, Phoenix Design Week is coming out, and I happen to have a couple tickets if anyone needs some. You can like, make sure the student needs a ticket.
And from my perspective, I spend a lot of time on social media reading. I follow several key design influencers, the big technology companies, Apple, Microsoft, Google. I like medium.com. There's several different pages and people I follow there. And ironically enough, Apple News is my favorite place to kind of skim through key headlines, and I follow a lot of design and technology articles there. So that's kind of one of my ways I try and stay with the curve and try and think of how I can stay ahead of it as it race.
Awesome. I wanted this is a great time to plug that we have the director of Design Week here, Mike Marinello, representing GIT Arizona, and a special announcement just for y'all. Students and faculty will get a special price of $99 for the AIGA conference. That's only until Friday, and all you have to do is sign up with your .edu email. So if you haven't snagged those tickets yet, or you don't attack that for this later, $99 if you sign up by Friday with your .edu. So that's a great way to keep involved with the industry and keep up with the skills. All right, your next question. It's sort of a two-parter here. If you have a degree, did you find it helpful in getting a job? And especially your master's. So do you have a bachelor's or a master's? And did you find either one of those really helpful in helping you land a job? Anyone who
So I don't have a degree. I started to get a design degree, and I got hired while I was still in school, and I failed on it. So I went through kind of my own design learning. I went through my own web development learning. I just was self-taught HTML, CSS, and then PHP, JavaScript, all just on my own the first 2 years. And so my company's built 300 websites, and the first like 100 were just me figuring it out the hard way. Self-taught Flash, built a Flash CMS where you can edit your own Flash site. It was amazing. I don't know how I did it anymore. So I don't have a degree and it's worked out, but I can definitely see some advantages for a lot of students, and a lot of people. And there's so much more you can learn from others. So there's times I wish I would have finished my degree, but most times.
If you're in my class, you know that I always say, the scary thing about what we do is that you don't need a degree at all to do this, right? You just need to be talented, you need to know how to do this. A degree is a great way to learn how to do this, and so I usually use that argument when I get some grade 90 and I get an A, and the thing is, like, it doesn't matter, as long as you can do the thing, it doesn't matter what your grade was, because you don't need a degree to do it, you know, just to learn it is really helpful.
Yes, guy.
Okay, super quick. I want to answer because I have a master's, so I'm on the opposite side of that. So in my case, it was interesting because I did my bachelor's in mechanical engineering, so it was unrelated to design. So doing the master's was a way to course correct. And so when I went to interviews for the master's in design, it sort of ended the conversation there and say, oh, he knows what he's doing. And if I didn't have that design degree, I probably wouldn't have gotten in the room in the first place. So in that case, it wasn't masterful conversation, but it was just like, yep, he's a designer. And so in a lot of ways, that's what the degree is. It's just a ticket through the front door. What happens next is up to you. Okay, and I have questions from online, so I'm moving on. All right, Robin asks, regarding portfolios, are there a preferred platform? Thoughts about ASU's digitation for e-portfolios?
My thought when I'm reviewing portfolios is it doesn't necessarily matter where it is being hosted, what it is. It's about how you can speak to it and how it tells your story and communicates your level of talent and skill. You could show up with a cardboard box full of things. As long as you can kind of talk about it and it proves that you know what you're doing, that's all that really matters. I wouldn't get caught up in technology where it is and how it's like
I completely agree with that. And I also want to see low fidelity, nitty-gritty drawings on your portfolio. I want to see the process of how you come up with a problem and how you work your way to that ideal solution, and then see how you had that polish to it.
Excellent. So our next set of questions has to kind of move into portfolio and kind of platforms since we started talking about that. And this person asks that we use a lot of Adobe programs here. What kind of programs do you use during the day? And maybe how much you use them? So my follow-up to that would be, does it matter what specific tool it is or the kind of tool it is? So if each person could answer what kind of software they use to kind of create during the day, or Amy, the kind of things you look for and you see in your recruiting efforts.
I have a really great answer. I use PowerPoint a lot, which everyone is giving me a look. I love it. And my thought is, so we have a lot of work for clients that need things pared down into a template or into an easy to use presentation template or marketing template or so on and so forth that anyone can kind of use. And that's what Microsoft products do, right? So I always tell like another junior staff is when we have a project like this, they need to work on it. They're like, okay, well, I'll do it in Illustrator. That's really great if that's how you can kind of work through it. But at the end of the day, it needs to be into PowerPoint, and don't let the platform limit you. Like if you can only design because you can use Illustrator, then you might not necessarily be a great designer. You should be able to use any kind of platform and be able to communicate your thoughts and ideas. So PowerPoint is your friend.
True.
I can agree with Nicole here. I challenged myself to do I was doing a keynote presentation and I based it on Star Wars. I drew all the Star Wars heads of all the major characters in PowerPoint, so they're all simple shapes. In my day, I live in, our design team is all Adobe for the most part. Every now and then Sketch. Development team is whatever you're comfortable with. Sublime, Atom. I use Coda. I don't know why. I built an MVP. It works really well.
Yep.
But most of my dev team is all Atom right now. Everything pushes to GitHub. Just knowing those tools and knowing that command on the interface of Git commits has been super important for us. We have developers who maybe don't know that every now and then. We will teach it as part of their first efforts in our industry is making sure they know how to do Git commits from the command line. That's the right way of doing it. Other than that,
That's
whatever
hard.
you're comfortable with, as long as you're good at what you're doing.
Yeah, we use the Adobe Creative Suite. I do mostly print work and some of the web graphics. I'm doing programming. Photoshop, any design more than anything else. We do a lot of coding protection products. If I need to illustrate something, I'll do a lot of it in Illustrator because of pen tool, things like that. Yeah, if you really don't be able to work, you do photo retention, I run the pen tool really good because that's the tool.
So what we see is a lot of the Adobe Creative Suite. If a client needs catalog work, they want to see your InDesign and usually out. Web is involved with this, you see a lot of WordPress work, obviously HTML, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery, some Node and React lately. Presentations as well, we have several clients that do a lot of presentations. So PowerPoint is a big one as well, and Keynote.
So from a design perspective, we spend a lot of time in a mutual called action. We're just using sketch and abstract and vision to work because we're paying them too much money and we do what we need with action. But I change my platform tools depending on the task that I'm doing. So if I'm doing a lot of workflow analysis, I'm using Microsoft Visio. Most enterprise companies have a whole Microsoft suite. We also have the Adobe suite, but we don't use Adobe stuff a whole lot for design activities, unless we're just trying to create some iconography more in Illustrator. A lot of presentations in PowerPoint because all of my bosses and the boss's bosses all want presentations of what we're doing, and so master PowerPoint is a good way to tell a story or something similar to PowerPoint. And then lastly, I change my platform depending on what I'm doing. I just do it in my Mac. So I'm doing analytical stuff on my Windows OS. I'm doing design stuff. I jump over to my Mac OS and just go from there.
I follow a question for you, Alan. Do you feel like sort of UX designers lean more towards the Adobe products and UX researchers lean more towards Figma and Asher and those sorts?
Yeah, it really depends on your role in the UX spectrum. If you're working more on front-end work, you're probably going to be on some of the platforms that we mentioned earlier. But if you're in the conceptual design phase, you need to do a lot of workflow analysis. I do want people, doing that workflow analysis in Visio, because everyone else from a business perspective, that's what they use. And you need to deliver some of your content in a way that then people consume it or edit it, for that matter. And it doesn't help if you're just working in your Mac and you're just working in Adobe and everyone else has got a PC and they can't edit the files, they can't edit the PDF, and you have to figure out a way to share it, and it just becomes kind of a nightmare. So, as being a UX designer, empathy is important. So understand your audience and how to deliver your content to your audience.
Awesome.
Quick one-word answer from everyone, because this is the question that I get asked the most probably, and is often asked online in different professional organizations. Is it better to have a physical portfolio, a digital portfolio, or does it even matter? One-word answer. Well, two, I guess it really doesn't matter.
Online, digital.
Online.
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 Yes.
So we get that question a lot, and I think Nicole said it best earlier, when she said it really doesn't matter if you bring a box of things, as long as you're telling your story well, the format doesn't really matter if it's print or digital. It's great to be kind of prepared for all of those things, but digital is usually the first time it's being received, and obviously our panel here with that great job about portfolios. Do you have an online question?
Yes. All right, Sadie asks, how can design and technology be utilized to enrich small towns and communities? What are the challenges related to that?
I think in that space, finding ways to enhance community engagement is most important. There's tools out there already doing some of this with I think it's like a neighborhood app that's really doing well with just creating a sense of community, even bigger cities, like it's your zip code. I think usually half a zip code, what's connected to your neighbors, what's going on. So I would think human connection is most important in that space. I think design and development comes through, the UX planning and being creative and being out of the way of the users so that they can do their community connecting events, news. Hopefully that answers that question. No, I didn't.
All right, we have another, last question about portfolios, and, this revolves around kind of what should be there. So students have student work and they have student projects that are in their portfolios. What kind of things do you expect to see in portfolios when you're hiring in your company or looking for jobs, and what kind of things do you expect to see?
I think it was already kind of said, but process work, how you arrive at your solution. It's really great if you can produce a bunch of really cool logos on a page, but I want to know that you know how to get there, and it doesn't just happen every once in a while that you make something really cool, but that there's a thought process and a design thinking aspect behind all of your work.
Can I start with a story?
Absolutely.
I hired an intern once. He was a developer, and he had this really great student project. It was solid. They looked at the code. It was really great. And his first day, he needed to code this Photoshop file into a landing page. Single landing page, site coming soon, email sign up. That's it. 8 hours later, he is still stuck and Googling things like PSD into HTML. And he's like, well, I don't think image tag with .psd work. I'm like, where did I go wrong? I interviewed this guy. His teacher said he was amazing. He's going to get a master's.
Dear God, not here.
Not in the GIT program.
No.
It was rough. We parted ways that day. I asked him how his day went and said, really good. I think I'm going to put on my day tomorrow. I said, please come back. So I had to refine my process. So in creative, yes, showing process, showing the sketch is all super important. How do I weed out the people who think they know development and maybe can show a project? I look back, this guy's project must have been a team effort. He was that one guy no one wants in the team. There's no way he did anything on this project. So for developers, I want to see your Git commits. I want to see what's going on and how you got there. I want to see your failures and struggles. I want to see your Git commits that have like, what the fuck is going on right now? This is all broken. And they're like, never mind, I fixed it. It's calm. I want to see that. I want to see you struggle. I want to see the time changes between. I want to know how long it took you to do something. And so I recently helped our lead and senior developer leave my company. He wanted me to go build apps. And so I'm like, you need to show these Git commits and this, make this public, take the API keys out. But you can show these to other employers. And he got a job right away. He's now a lead React developer for a huge company in Tennessee, doing really well. I helped another student actually in the ASC program, I believe.
This is a former GIT student.
Oh, that one. Well, yeah. So it was one of Christina's students who now went from like 5 years of me to making like double what I was paying. We had another student, and I did the same thing. I said, start tracking your time. Use Harvest, Toggle, some sort of time tracking tool, and track the time you're spending on the site, and share that with people. He got a job almost right away. He was able to show his work. So he was working on freelance work, student work, things that didn't really have a boss to it, and he was able to show his work through that code process.
Follow up on that, maybe our web, what's the best way to show your work in a portfolio? Is it just send the website and have them look at the back end? Like, how do you represent your work when your work is maybe not visual at all? Maybe it was just, it wasn't the back end, or it was the front end of the development side.
Again, it's process. What were the problems you were trying to achieve? What did you have to work with? What hurdles did you overcome, and what was that final output? I want to see and click around the work that's there, but I also want to see how you got there. I want to see who else was involved. Who did you work with? Because as developers, we don't live in silos, and it's not our website. I just want to say it was who did the design, who did the content, who did the copy, who directed this, who did the UX strategy, and who helped pull this together. What server stack is it on? Why did you choose that? Those are all really important things that show mastery of something versus just like, I made this site, it's pretty quick around. Because you're really looking at usually the designer's work at that point, not the developer's work.
All right, we got a lot of these. So Israel asks, how can someone approach business owners and provide services to them as an independent designer, whether it be any form of media? menu designs, mural, paint services, photography, websites. So essentially about solo practice.
Raise your hand if you did freelancer at some point. Yeah, so I think those will probably be the best opportunities to answer that. How did you get work?
I used to do a lot of computer training. And so a lot of the people that I trained worked at ad agencies and things like that. So I would end up picking up work because I knew programs better than anybody there. So that made it easy for me to get those freelance jobs. But a lot of times, through my work at Fender, sometimes we need outside help and, getting contacts with people you know, networking with people that may work at a place. So you look at, say, Fender, and somebody who works there, you grab a business card after this. It never hurts to have your name there because at some point in time, somebody says, wow, we need somebody to get in here and do something really quick. And if people have seen your portfolio, know who you are, it's at least a good step.
I think another key there is just networking, going to small business events, local first, chamber of commerce events. They're going to have smaller startup businesses that are more likely to take a risk on you. Unless you know somebody like Fender, you're not just going to walk in and they're going to give you work. It's just going in. You gotta prove yourself a little bit, and you know somebody, you meet them face to face. It's a little more trustworthy. The other thing is networking and being engaged with people who are upstream from you. So even to this day, I get work from app development shops who don't really build websites. They will send me work all day long. And then I will also get work downstream. So I'll have smaller studios who just can't do the work we do. They'll send us work and vice versa. So I will send work down a lot, and I'll run into clients who just don't have the budget that I need. We had a client today who wanted $1,500 to design and develop a website. No.
Yeah.
But here's 5 freelancers that might be able to do it for you. And be professional. Make sure you have the right website. Make sure you have business cards. Make sure you're invoicing correctly. Have a contract. But all in all, just being as professional as you can get that work and move your way out. And just like the network, both networking with businesses, but also networking with other providers who can send you work.
Yeah. Oh, one more thing. So I like to say that if you're running your own business, if you're a solo practitioner, you have to do 2 things well. Number 1 is bring new projects through the door. And number 2 is everything else combined. So this is a lifelong practice. And for some people, they never master it. And you realize, like, I need to be, let's call it a creative director. I need to not worry about marketing and sales and that sort of thing. So there's a lot of self-effacing and a lot of self-examination to realize how you can or how you should be out there, like hunting work down. This is a huge, huge question. And to anyone that's taken my class, I sort of urge you not to worry about it, at least for the first 10 years of your career. Like, concentrate on your practice and working for one of these fine folks who can teach you.
Awesome. So our next set of questions has to do with UX. So we have a new UX program here on this campus. We have a master's in UX. We also have 2 new degrees here. 1 new degree in GIT with a concentration in UX. And so students want to get a root.
Yeah.
All right, I'll take your root.
I heard it.
If you're interested in the UX concentration within GIT, just talk to your faculty. We can tell you how you switch to that. So Alan, right now in UX, what are sort of the hot topics within UX? What are kind of the things we're debating about right now?
I think the biggest debate is what we call ourselves. It is like an ongoing debate. I like to just generalize the department and what we do as user experience. And like some people articulate it as UX UI. I'm not very fond of that.
Explain.
I think UX is a good overarching term for all the different disciplines within user experience. Because within UX, you have user researchers, you have interaction designers, you might have visual designers, you might have UI engineers. They're all different, very specific disciplines within UX. And some of the skills that a person has to be one of those roles need to be, you might need to be a logical thinker, you might need to be a creative thinker, or you might need to be balanced, up brain and right brain. When we say UX UI, you're creating segmentation between 2 different parts of what I'm calling UX. And I don't think there's just two segmentations. So when you're in an enterprise software company, I think it's better to have people with some specialization in some of those skills. I need a researcher who's a logical thinker, who can watch a video of a participant going through the design that my interaction designer put together. And that way, you have two different people working on one problem and one design. If you're in a smaller shop, you might be a generalist and doing all these things, but you might be more of a creative thinker, you're going to struggle with more logical activities. And that could cause problems down the road for the business, or it can introduce risk into what it is you're designing. So I think it's important beyond just titles, it's just understanding the work that you're trying to do and what you focus on and what your audience is and what your end result should be. The other one is what I'm finding fun, which I find amusing, is the whole design thinking conversation. There's a lot of different methodologies. They do a lot of the same thing, but they call it something different. So when you kind of uncover the name and throw that away, fundamentally, you're focused on empathy, who are your people, what is the problem you're trying to solve, what are your restrictions or your guardrails or your requirements, and then it's trying to move forward and try and find the best idea to solve everyone's problem, and then get to designing and testing. They all pass.
Great. We have
Okay.
an online question.
All right. Oh. Okay, moving into some other online questions. One that's related. Well, I think it's related. Abby asks, what have been the biggest changes within the industry in the last 5 years? And what changes do you think will be most relevant in the next 5 years?
Great question. I'd like everyone to answer that. Alan just sort of did, so.
Okay. Yeah, I think to quickly dovetail on that, or to piggyback on that, the emergence of large internal UX teams, let's call them, the idea of designing and building apps and websites and stuff is now a huge collaborative effort. And just the fact that we use the word build to describe websites, you know, we don't say I drew a website. One person could do that, but it takes a team to build it, so that the numbers are just colossal. And also the kind of the need for everyone to do more with less. Every desk has to produce more different types of work than ever before.
Yeah, I agree with that statement too, especially working in an architecture, interior design, graphic design studio. We all kind of wear multiple hats, and that's kind of what's become more and more, I guess, expected of us nowadays. Everyone should be able to do multiple things and not just kind of be able to sit at a computer and be like, I'm only an illustrator, I'm only using logos. It's just the work that we've gotten is just much broader than that. And also the kind of turn to more of the total brand experience, which was something maybe 5 years ago. It was hard to kind of get people who wanted to build a building on board with, well, what is your brand? How does the building itself communicate your brand story? How does it create brand integrity and loyalty and all of that? And now it's more and more prominent, and people understand it more, and that's what they're kind of looking for.
I think one of the things that I've been experiencing the last 5 or 10 years is the growth of solving real business problems with design and development. That what we're creating is part of that bigger brand experience, that loyalty, that what we're presenting really matters and really take a business to the next level. And I think in the next couple of years, you're going to see a lot more focus on ADA compliance. It's really shocking how slow website adaptation of ADA compliance has been. To this day, most bigger organizations have very little support, and it's a big problem. And so search engines are starting to pick up on this. So Google is starting to rank, they used to rank sites as they were faster, as they were more relevant, and now as they're more compliant. They're going to start to see just that empathy show through across every single aspect of the site, and it comes down to just strategy of how does this make sense if we strip away all the graphics and all the style sheets. What does this look like? How does it read? How can a user who has some sort of impairment work their way through the site? So you'll see a lot more of that shining through in what's required in bigger sites, and it's going to trickle down to smaller sites.
I would have to agree with the other grants here. I think it's all, you need to know a lot more than you used to have to know. I've been doing this a long time, and I look at job postings, and you see, you know, I need somebody who can not only design a website, but code a website, and then illustrate do this, it's a lot to do. Sometimes it can be taxing because if, you know, you're really creative, you have to get on the other side of it. It makes it really rough. So it's, you know, it puts a lot of pressure on you guys to meet those goals and those skills. And my hat's off to you because it is a lot. Being an old guy like I am, you know, I look at some of this stuff. And I remember HTML from years and years ago. And I remember, you know, Adobe PageMaker. Probably none of you have ever heard of it.
Yeah.
It was like the first WYSIWYG.
Cork.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Or, yeah. PageMaker.
I'm just 8 years old, I'm Cork.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew Photoshop before layers. And
Oh, yeah.
So it was, yeah, it was a long time ago, but, you know, now everything is just so much more for you guys to have to take hold of. So keep working.
Amy, that's great news. You see all of these, job applications coming through and they want everything in the kitchen sinks, Photoshop, but also HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and some sort of Node, or some sort of React, or some sort of JavaScript framework that's needed this week, plus Autodesk, plus whatever. How often do you feel like the company really needs all that stuff versus they just listed all the stuff?
They just took a job description off the internet and said, this is what we need. We see that all the time. We have to coach them. Like, what are you trying to do? What is unique graphic design? Website? You just need presentations done. We have to sit down with them and see what their specific need is. Okay, you need somebody with InDesign, Illustrator, Photoshop. You don't need somebody to code in what you need done. So it's a lot of like coaching them and trying to get them to spit to us what they need. And we try and tell them, okay, let's fix this job description. Let's get you a graphic designer. Okay, no, we need a web developer. Let's focus on that.
Right.
And getting the must-haves of what they need versus what they have on the job description.
Excellent. One last online question.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's the big one. To the panel, it says, hi, Pat. What piece of advice do you wish you had received while you were an undergrad?
You don't know as much as you think you do.
Yeah.
Slow down a little bit, listen to others around you.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
You are not all that. Dial it back.
Sponge from older people. So get out, network, meet some people, and just listen.
Great advice. That's really great advice. Jen, did you have one?
I was just gonna say, it's basically the same thing. As I have gone through all the jobs that I have, when I first started, I was the youngest guy in the department. It was great, because when you know the least amount, you learn the most. And then as you go along, all of a sudden you find yourself, now at almost 58 years old, and I'm the old guy who's been doing this forever. You mentor people, you help them, but you notice you're giving more information out than you get back in. Luckily, because of all the change in technology, I can glean some new stuff that I haven't kept up as much with as a lot of the younger guys have. So, absolutely, be a sponge. Listen to everybody. You know, take in everything you can, because that's what's going to get you ahead.
Excellent. Alice, thank you so much for being here and sharing. Let's do a big round of applause.